opportunity to reach out. Okay, folks, let's jump in. We have a lot to discuss today. I'm Brewster Rhodes. I'm the Ohio River Way. My vice chair, David Wicks, is on the call here, of course, and Francis Manone is our wonderful project manager. And then Forrest Clevenger is our administrative and communications director. So that's currently our internal team. And with all your help, we've been able to make something big happen in this community. And we have a lot to go through today. The agenda is in the chat. And it would be great if folks took a moment to put their name and organizational affiliation and where you're from in the chat so we know who's in the house. We know most of you all, of course, but you all don't know each other. So that's helpful if you don't mind doing that for a moment. Okay. Well, what we wanted to do is to have a brief discussion here about what happened this past week with American Rivers announcing their top 10 most endangered rivers in America list, with the Ohio River, as you know, being number 2 on that list. And there are some folks on the call here who've been very involved in this. I first, though, just like to start with Forrest, again, our administrative communications coordinator, just letting everybody know what we were up to. And then I'd love to hear very briefly from Heather, from Jordan. But we want to make sure that everybody on the call understands what was announced and what the impact is and how we plan to collectively use this to build the constituency for support for increased monitoring and enforcement and restoration and developing further the recreational assets of the river. So Forrest.
Thank you, Brewster. So as you've likely heard by now, the Ohio River was named the second most endangered river of 2023 by American Rivers, a national nonprofit organization. This is a big deal. First place went to the Colorado River, and because of drought and overuse, sections of that river are literally disappearing and running dry. So second place is not a good thing here. We had a coordinated campaign that was partially led by American Rivers, but additionally Orsenco and the Ohio River Basin Alliance and many of you all, where we've seen some success there, especially in the Southern Ohio area. We had a good number of stories covering this announcement and additionally giving a call to action, which from the Ohio River Way, if you've seen our release, that call to action had 3 parts. The first was calling on Congress to fund a basin-wide restoration plan. ORWA is currently in the process of drafting what exactly that looks like. The second is to call on state and federal officials to increase funding to Orsenco, which is the multi-state agency that is responsible for testing the quality of the river. And they were really important in the response to the East Palestine crisis. And the third thing is just asking officials at all levels to invest in recreation infrastructure along their waterfronts, as well as in infrastructure that helps keep their waterways clean, including in sewer systems. So that's the update there. If you would like a copy of the release, shoot me a message. I'm happy to send to you, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Forrest, could you put the link to our statement and talking points in the chat? That'd be helpful. Okay.
Sure thing.
And we have a couple of other folks on the call here who've been deeply involved in this. Jordan, could you introduce yourself and in just a minute or so lay out the role that the National Wildlife Federation has been playing with this project?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Brewster. We're working with the Ohio River Basin Alliance. We are co-leading with Orsenco the restoration planning process. We've held over 25 listening sessions to get community input, and the aforementioned restoration plan that we want Congress to fund, that is what we're trying to complete right now. We're trying to get a draft of that done this summer. We'll release it to public comment. I think several folks in this call have participated in a listening session, and just so you have it, we have a few more on the books. We have a few virtual ones. We have one in Evansville coming up, being co-sponsored by the NAACP in Evansville. And we have 2 more in Kentucky, sponsored by, I think, Kentucky Waterways. I know Susan's on the call, the Kentucky River Keeper, and a few other Kentucky groups. Those have not been posted yet. So we'll have 3 more in-person listening sessions, 3 more virtual ones. We'll be wrapping that up. And as mentioned, we want to have a bold, visionary, compelling restoration plan that we can get funded to address some of the threats that were mentioned in the American Rivers report. And I'll put in the chat later, but a lot of the groups who have pitched in one way, shape, or form, including the Ohio River Way, to the listening sessions. We also issued a statement, a lot of complimentary statements going out the other day, just talking about the breadth of support, the diversity of support, and the strong regional support that this project has.
Thank you, Jordan. Heather Sprouse is with the West Virginia Rivers Coalition. Heather played a key role regionally in helping to promote this whole project. So Heather, a quick word from you.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Heather Sprouse, the Ohio River Coordinator with the West Virginia Rivers Coalition. And I was part of the kind of team that American Rivers had asked to lead this campaign in partnership with a couple of other local NGOs from the Upper River region. And it was just so incredible to see this campaign expand to really work across the region with stakeholders from all different areas around uniting on this common vision of securing sustained and substantial federal investments for restoration, as well as development of nature-based recreation opportunities throughout the watershed. And I've just been so encouraged to work with Jordan and make sure that this restoration plan is really founded in the voices of people who are living in these communities. And it's just been great to see support from the Ohio River Congressional Caucus. Both the co-chairs, Bill Johnson, as well as Morgan McGarvey, sent out a statement supporting the designation and the campaign to receive these federal investments. And I'm just so excited to get to partner with all of y'all and folks from across the region to make sure that we receive these investments that we urgently need. So I'll drop my email in the chat just in case anybody has questions or concerns about the campaign. And I look forward to continuing to work in partnership with many of y'all.
Thank you, Heather. Appreciate your leadership. I see that Claremont County Commissioner David Painter's in the house, and Commissioner, I see your hand is up. Did you have a comment or a question? Maybe. Nope. He'll get back there in a second. So, here part of the challenge, let's be honest about this, is that here we had national and regional press about the Ohio being endangered on this national river, in this national list, which a lot of people unfortunately perceive as, oh, it's really dirty and dangerous. That's why it's on the list, right? And so, especially for those of us who are involved in promoting outdoor recreation on the river, tourism, etc., it is a little bit of a challenge. I don't know if anybody here has gotten press inquiries. We sent out a press kit, as you know, talking points, etc. Has anybody gotten calls from press for your comments about this national story? If so, just raise your hand. Go ahead, Susan.
So KWA was contacted.
That's Kentucky Waterways Alliance.
Right, thank you. Kentucky Waterways Alliance was contacted by the Courier Journal. Connor Giffen is their environmental reporter. And so there was a story that ran this morning. I sent you the link, Brewster, just a little bit ago. And then also Michael Washburn, our executive director, was on a TV feature or a news feature by WDRB. So,
okay, and I also know that Portsmouth Mayor Sean Dunn, who is teaching a class right now, couldn't be on the call. He had 3 TV interviews yesterday, including Huntington Press, etc. So he was all over the news. This story was all over the news, and he did a marvelous job in helping people understand this is an opportunity to draw public attention to the challenges facing the river, but also the value and benefits and the majesty of the Ohio. So it was a way to rally people around getting more engaged. And I think this could also provide more oomph to the efforts to do river sweep. We'll talk about that in a second, so that we want more volunteers, more tires, more trash picked up this year than ever, using this, frankly, to get people moving and engaged. Hey, Commissioner Painter, I see you have your hand up. Did you have a comment or question?
I didn't have a comment or question. You know, my comment was, when they just gave the description about, you know, the Ohio River being the #2 recognized most endangered, you know, waterway, a couple things come to mind there. You know, the Ohio River is obviously regulated under the waters of the U.S. or WOTUS rules. And I heard an ask there that we're looking for funding for the federal government to step in and provide funding to restore bank areas and in riverfront areas. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, that's one of the things that we certainly are calling for. That is federal investment, not only in restoration, stream bank restoration, wetlands, dealing with combined sanitary storm sewer issues, et cetera, up and down the river, and stronger enforcement of the existing laws and regulations for emissions, but also investments in upgrading riverfronts to improve access for recreation activities.
Since it has been identified as the second most endangered river, just a suggestion. I sit on the EELU committee here in the National Association of Counties. A great way to do that is through the resolution process. And if someone in the group would be amenable to penning a resolution that you would like to have presented in front of the National Association of Counties, and then that to become part of the platform to be presented to the United States Congress and United States Senate, I'd be glad to do that. I would provide you an example of how that can be done, what a resolution looks like, and what the rules are and instructions for doing that, if that's something that the group would be interested in.
Well, Commissioner, speaking on behalf of every single person on this call, thank you. This is wonderful. It's exactly what we wanted to start stimulating. So you and I can follow up, and I can share with Jordan, with Heather, with Ohio Environmental Council, others who've been in leadership on this, obviously American Rivers, and we can work together on a draft resolution that it'd be great if Claremont County would be the first to adopt. B, we can encourage every other county along the Ohio River Way to also adopt, and maybe that could be a request from you to your colleagues in Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky to get on the bandwagon that then you can use in your effort to get the national entity to adopt this resolution, because you will have led the effort to show the extent of support in our stretch of the Ohio. That makes sense?
What you would also get to participate in then is there will be a time scheduled by Zoom, where someone who is well versed in those features would get an opportunity to present that in front of the Environmental, Energy, and Land Use Steering Committee in the National Association, and then they would present that at the annual conference in July. So you don't have a lot of time. And if voted on and approved, keep in mind it's open to amendment. But if voted on and approved, it would be part of the national platform for the next 12 months.
Wow. And then I see that Mark Young suggested in the chat that we could perhaps do a similar effort with the U.S. Conference of Mayors by getting every single mayor we can along the Ohio River Way to get their community to adopt a similar resolution. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Wow. Wow, fantastic. How's that for some action already today? I love it. This is exactly what we want to have happen in these meetings, creative ideas, and then a commitment to implement.
Be glad to facilitate it for you.
Well, sir, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And Commissioner Painter is from the New Richmond area. He knows the river inside and out, and has provided great leadership countywide in Claremont County. So thank you. I'm grateful. Okay, folks, unless there's any other comment or question, which you can put in the chat and folks can continue the dialogue there, we need to move on. But this was a big week, a big boost of a visibility around this issue we are focused on. And obviously, we have the ability to take action. And this is very exciting. So, okay, good. Next, Forrest, can you give us a quick rundown on the guide to the Ohio River Way? Where we're standing with this amazing publication.
Yes, so the guide has expanded, which is exciting news, as Cincy Magazine has continued to sell ads. I believe we're up to around 52 pages right now, which means that I'm actually tracking down more content, and that will be finished by the end of this week. The news for you all, though, is that the Ohio River Way is going to be purchasing copies for distribution for free for you. So if you're a tourism bureau, or if you're if you have a place where you think you would be able to distribute copies of the upcoming guide, please let me know if you would like some. You can put that in the chat now. You can email me at forrest@ohioriverway.org, and we will order some for you and get them to you. So that's the big news there.
And there are a number of people here on the call whose entity, whether it's New Albany or Maysville or whatever, Augusta, Lawrenceburg. I mean, all these so many communities, West Point, have purchased ads, big and small, to communicate to the region what they have to offer. But I think this will be a dynamite publication. It will also have a section about the American Rivers announcement and things that people can do to take action. So Lydia, you are on here, right? Lydia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay. So Lydia
I'm
Steck
here. Yeah.
is our
So-
liaison. Just quick comment, Lydia, real quick. Lydia works for and
Yeah, I
represents
just wanted to
Cincy
say
Magazine.
that, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's slow, but go ahead.
Oh, goodness. So we are just very excited about the overwhelming support for this publication. Our goal was 16, that it was going to 32, and now we're up to 52. So it's just a testament to the value of this publication, and it really is, and why it's needed.
Well, thank you, and thank you for giving our paid members a 15% discount. We will be doing this again, we expect next year, and getting an earlier start so it's done sooner. But regardless, it'll be a gas. So if you didn't participate this year, put it in your budget for next year. We, on the 18th of May, will be holding our next coalition meeting 4 weeks from today that will also focus on elected officials, Commissioner and Mayor Charlie Cleese from Bellevue, among others on the call. So we'll be having elected officials have a discussion amongst themselves, and we will roll out the digital version of the guide to the Ohio River Way so people can see what's in it. We'll be talking about the paddle coming down the river starting the 2nd of June. We'll get to that at the end. So it'll be a chance. We'll officially unveil at least the digital flipbook version of the guide on the 18th of May, and please put that in your calendar. Okay, thank you very much. This is a big deal. It was a fantasy. We thought, well, what the heck, let's start a little publication that we can use to distribute information, and it just grew and grew and grew in terms of content and participation by advertisers. So thank you, folks. I think we're more or less on schedule. Faris, could you just quickly review the updates of the website so everybody has that information and can see what they can do to promote their entities through the way you've now set it up. Faris?
Yes, I will share the screen real quick.
Okay.
All right, so here is the website. If you would like to submit your events and have them appear on our Rivertown events page, which is just a big long list of tons of events happening up and down the river, you can submit them at this button right here, submit an event. That is also available on our contact us page. We are working on updating the form to take locations in our digital guide. I'll send you all an update once that is ready with OKI. And I believe you all have seen this before. We have our Become a Member section and our list of members, but we also now have a member resources page, which will continue to grow with time, but it's a few things in here for your reference. The big one right now is the Rivertown Review Toolkit, which just came out. The National Park Service's Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program made this based upon the Rivertown Review program that the Ohio Riverway had previously done. It is a self-guided toolkit, and it should be a really helpful tool. This summer, we'll be working with them to have a webinar session to help walk through how exactly to use that toolkit. Another thing I would bring your attention to, this is simple, it's short. I wrote a quick blog post on how to optimize your location in Google Maps. If you're a nonprofit or a business that has a location, that might be helpful for you. If you're a community, a small town that wants to boost how you appear in Google Maps, I would also recommend you take a look at that. But we will keep building on this page and let you know as stuff is added. Yes, the only other thing that is new is down here in the bottom right is we have a full press kit, which was part of the rollout of that campaign over the last few days. I believe that's it.
And that press kit has B-roll video that has already been used by some of the TV stations. They just grabbed that stuff and threw it on TV as a background for the stories, which is wonderful, and photos, etc. And we would love to build that out with photos from you all, from your communities, so that they will be housed there and available to press doing any story about the Ohio River Way or your community. But we would make it easy for the press to have access to your video, to your photos, and perhaps, if we can figure this out, B-roll.
Yes, and if there's ever something like photos that you would like me to add to your Rivertown profile on our website, I'm happy to do that as well. So,
and once you mention that, can you mention that Rivertown profile section?
Yeah, I can share my screen again real quick.
And our colleague Mark Long spent a lot of time developing at least the first versions of everybody's one pager about their community. And there are a few that we haven't done yet that we will flesh out. We have one on Covington and Fort Thomas. I don't know why it's not any highlighted, but yeah, take Bellevue. Well, never mind.
Yep. Here's the, yeah. So these are just short little profiles, contain a bit of information about your community. They also contain links to a few things that people can find there. This is just a helpful thing to have on the back end as people are Googling for stuff in your community, Googling about your community. It's just another page that they can land on. It's another place to have your links present. In at least from our website's analytics, a modest number of people do come through these pages, and they find them through Google searches.
Good. So thank you for that overview. We just want to make sure that everybody understood the tools we have available to help you get your message out about what your community has to offer, what your organization has to offer. So a page for each community on the website with links. B, the opportunity to add any event for your nonprofit, for your community, et cetera, to our events calendar. There's almost 150 different events there now, sequentially by date. So it's just amazing. It shows you all the stuff that people can do and engage in up and down the river, from fishing tournaments to fireworks to barbecue, beer, and whatever. And then thirdly, the ability, as we will flesh out next couple of weeks, to have you add to the digital guide for your community points of interest, historical sites, recreational amenities, businesses even. So make use of that. Okay, moving right along. All right, now, Francis Minone, could you share the exciting news about our expanded partnership with the National Park Service that'll benefit everybody up and down the river?
Yeah, so it should be posted soon, and we will circulate our announcement there. But as we've been talking about, the National Park Service has taken us into what I'm calling the graduate level RTCA program. They didn't want to let us go, and so we have at our disposal or use two experienced workers that are going to be working with us this summer on specialized projects that are paid for by the National Park Service, which is huge for us and very exciting. And so we should be able to see them in action with continued. We're going to do one of the projects we're working on is the National Park Service put together a Rivertown Review toolbook, a toolkit. And I wonder if I don't have the link up now, but I'll throw it in the chat, which is on the National Park Service's website based off of the work they had done previously in the region. And so stay tuned this summer for some exciting work around a training program. In other words, in order to train communities to do their own Rivertown reviews, using the process that was developed through the original RTCA process we went through. Anything more, Brewster?
Well, I wanted to introduce John Olivier. John, it's wonderful to see you. John has been working with us for over a year with the National Park Service already, and is the author of the summary of all the Rivertown reviews we have done up to date. That is, he did that report that we released at the summit in November. Number two, John then developed the National Park Service Rivertown Review Toolkit. Again, as you said, Francis, it's their national toolkit being distributed all over the country for use by all the staff in the National Park Service to replicate what John and his colleagues with the River Trails and Conservation Assistance Program did with us with our 13 communities. So, John, we are so excited that you'll be working even more with us.
Well, I am too, and it was certainly a team effort to do all the things that you just described. And the one thing that I'll just say is the toolkit, it's very comprehensive, but it's extremely user-friendly. We were trying to make it so that literally you could almost just hand it off to people and it's kind of a do-it-yourself. So I think that's going to become really apparent when it gets out there in the public, and looking forward to getting some feedback on it when we do some of our face-to-face with some of the communities and get this thing out there. So yeah, it's been a great project.
Well, John, we're so excited to have you working with us. John has a long history of work in outdoor recreation, especially with the Muskegum watershed.
Right.
I'm sorry, what you call it. But John used to manage all their marinas and impoundments and boating and everything. So you're an expert in this stuff. And I see that Francis put the link to what you did, that is the national toolkit on Rivertown Reviews, in the chat. So you're welcome to go to that and flag it and start looking at it. But John and the person to be hired to work with John will be running workshops up and down the river, to bring the people who already were involved in our Rivertown Reviews back together to talk face-to-face about challenges with implementing the recommendations that folks came up with in their own communities, and help facilitate movement and potentially funding opportunities to get those projects done. And then secondly, we'll be doing a similar workshop for people whose communities did not go through a Rivertown Review, but using the toolkit to train the trainer, essentially. So those are big projects we'll be doing this summer and early fall. You'll be hearing more about it. So thank you, John. Thank you, Francis. And thank you, National Park Service. So good. Moving right along. Francis, this is the opportunity to make another big announcement.
So we've been working on, and it's been a long time coming, and we've talked about many times the necessity for having full-time staff for our Ohio Riverway entity. All the work you see going on here is being done by volunteers and some paid professionals, but nobody working full-time in a dedicated manner for us. And all this awesomeness has created the demand essentially for having someone who wakes up in the morning and goes to bed at night thinking about the causes of the Ohio Riverway. And very much appreciate all the work that's been going on with the volunteers that we have and our committee work, but we definitely need someone who is going to do that very thing. And so we're excited to announce today that the Christy Brown and Owsley Brown Family Foundation, Owsley Brown II Family Foundation is going to be supporting a 3-year full-time staff person. But it gets even better than that. It's the full-time staffer will be housed at U of L's Envirom Institute. So we, as a nonprofit organization, don't have the wherewithal necessarily to withstand housing a full-time staff person. But the Envirom Institute, for those who are not familiar with it, and I'll throw it in the chat, is very much mission aligned with the work that we're doing with the Ohio Riverway. And we're thrilled to have them housed there inside the Envirom Institute. So it's 3 years of support, super excited about it. And I'm going to ask Osha, who's here with us from the foundation, to say a few words about it.
Yeah, thanks. Well, we're excited. And, Francis, I'm not convinced that everybody on this call doesn't wake up and go to sleep thinking about the Ohio River. But Christy has been so encouraged by all the investments of time and talent you all have made as volunteers, and really sees this grant as an opportunity to try to match some of that investment. So yeah, we're just really excited to keep the momentum going on the river with finding a full-time staff person. We'll circulate sure they will be circulating the job description for anyone in your networks, and just see how we can keep this this going for the next few years.
Yeah,
Well-
so as soon as the posting is up, we will circulate it to everyone. Please send candidates our way. If you know, maybe there's someone on the call who'd be suitable for, I'm sure there are lots of people who would be suitable for this role. And so we will circulate that so that people understand the hiring process, and very excited about it. Thank you, OSHA.
And David Wicks just put in the chat a link to the Envirome Institute so people can learn more about that. This person will not be tethered to an office in Louisville. They will be on the road. They'll be communicating virtually as well as face-to-face with all of us. But it's wonderful for us to have a relationship with the Institute, which is a part of the University of Louisville, which handles millions and millions of dollars of federal grants for research and various programs and activities. So it's a potential long-term partnership that will pay off for this project, especially as we potentially expand our reach. So thank you, OSHA, and your board for your commitment to this effort. It's just huge. Okay, you'll be hearing more about it. So we are going to be looking for somebody to help take us to the next level. So start thinking about who would be good candidates. We'll get that out to you. Okay, wow. Okay, we're still on a roll. So now we have a lot of work that's been done behind the scenes between meetings by our very active committees. We have a marketing committee, a tourism committee, conservation, Clean Ohio, River Sweep Committee, and individuals working on themed trails for us. And so just wanted to run down real quickly. I'm not sure that we have a committee report from marketing at the moment. Most of that work has been focused on helping to edit material for the guide. Is there anybody otherwise planning to make a report from the marketing committee? Okay, moving right along here. Tourism has been rocking it. And Noelle, I see you are here. Could you introduce yourself and share a report on your wonderful committee?
Sure. So we had a meeting last week.
So Noelle, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm Noelle Sidlick with the Indiana Destination Development Corporation, and I chair the tourism committee along with Mary and Julie from down in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area. So I am just going to give you a quick update. We had a meeting last week with our base committee. Really was a good, just general information update. We got a lot of good detail from Brewster, as well as some directives on where to move. The main thing is that the meeting notes and going forward, I sent them out to pretty much everybody who had some interest in the tourism information, even if they aren't serving on the committee and serving in some sort of doer capacity, as I like to say. So if you got those meeting notes from me, that is why. If you do not want to receive them, please just let me know and I will remove you from the list that Brewster provided to me. If you want to receive them and you didn't get them, you can also reach out to me as well. I'll put my email address in the chat. But mainly our committee is going to be continuing to work on helping Forest build out the event calendar, looking at our own schedules and asking the tourism professionals along the river, as well as other organizations, to just check those events that are already listed, as well as adding to it if needed, and making sure that we're doing the right thing. And we have a few directives that were given out for that. And we're also starting to put together some concepts for trip ideas. So we have 6 identified sort of concepts about land-based activity, water, adventure, food and beverage, intro to recreation for those that may be not as adventurous as the adventure people, and then historical tourism, everything from homes, the Underground Railroad, monuments, markers, etc. So we know a number of you are working on those lists, and we'll be reaching out to you because the last thing we're going to do is reinvent the wheel and take over what somebody else is already doing. So we have some more organization to put forward, and we're probably going to be doing a survey that will be going out asking for some feedback from your communities, whether that's your tourism group or if you don't have one from your city, on really your 5 to 6 must-do things in your community. We think this is really going to be the best way, and we'll provide a template for what we want, so that all the information that we're putting out is pretty similar. So one community doesn't have 45 things and another community has 4. We will be keeping it consolidated. So we're asking you for the things that you think are the most important, rather than us picking what we think might be the most important. And obviously throughout the year, those things could change. If you're focusing on something else or the time of the, weather, etc. So just wanted to give you an update on where we are with that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll be hearing from our community or our committee here soon with that short survey. Obviously, the more people that respond, the more information we can use to build up the fabulous website the Forest is working so hard on.
Well, thank you very, very much. And could you put your contact information in the chat so folks can follow up with you? We just invite everybody who has an interest in promoting their communities through tourism, et cetera, to be part of that team. But it's excellent. So thanks so much for your leadership. And Mary Allen, who's a member of the Village Council in New Richmond, is your co-chair, along with Julie Kirkpatrick, the executive director of Meet NKY. So a wonderful leadership team. So thank you. Moving right along, Christy Knoll, are you in the house? Yes, you are. Could you give a report from on behalf of the Conservation Committee?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Christy Knoll with the Boone Conservancy. I co-chair the Conservation Committee with Jack Sutton of Oak Heritage Conservancy and Mark Jacobs with the Boone County Conservation District. We meet on, I think, the first Thursday of the month. I put my email address in the chat, so anyone that's not on that committee that would like to participate or at least be invited to the meetings, just reach out to me. We have been working on our mission and our purpose and our goals. It's kind of a work in progress, and I'll just let you know what our mission or purpose is. It is to promote protection and conservation of the natural resources of the Ohio River ecosystem within the Ohio Riverway project area. So that's what we're working with, and our goals have kind of dropped down from there. That's the main thing we've been working through, along with mapping the conserved areas along the Ohio Riverway. So our challenge is to reach out beyond our individual communities, right? We've got OKI here and Margaret Minzer, who has been amazing, and to join all that with Louisville and the other end of the river, Portsmouth, and try and get a map of conserved land that is there now, and areas that have public access, and then eventually areas that would be areas that we would love to see conserved. So our areas of interest for us. We finished our conservation piece for the Sensei magazine, and we are just working on building out our group, trying to make sure that any investment stakeholders are on board with us. And that's about it.
So Christy, you would like to invite anybody who's on the call today who is not already active with your committee, who is in that space, parks, conservancies, even recreation entities, etc.
Or those of someone that is not in our group right now that might want to participate. I think there's probably a lot of people out there that have a shared mission that we may not know about. So just pass our message along, and that my email's in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your leadership. Appreciate it.
Brewster,
Yes.
This time last year, we were working on the NIFWIF, America the Beautiful application that was across all 3 of our states. This year, we have selected we refined our ask, and we're in the application process. We hope to get asked to apply for a big project that's at the confluence of the Great Miami River and the Ohio River. And when it gets to the commissioner's point about being pointed about our asks and that sort of thing, we hope we get invited to ask. It's a major project for the region and would double down on the investment that's been going on in Ohio and Indiana across the river in Kentucky. So we will stay tuned on that. When we need people to lean in on support, we will, but that is a way to help drive some resources into the corridor.
Excellent.
Right.
Good.
And with our committee, jumping on what Francis said, I think the one thing we're doing is sharing what we're all working on so that we can help each other, write letters of support, jump in on projects. I think that's a big piece to making this more, knowing what everyone else is doing.
Thank you, Christy, and your team. Wonderful. Okay, moving right along. Our Clean Ohio team. I know that Annette Schumard with Orsanko was called away to another meeting, but we also have a wonderful co-chair, Tricia Novak, in the Louisville area, Southern Indiana area, and co-chair Tricia. Are you able to give a quick report on your great team?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm joining from my phone today, so I don't have my video on, but just want to make sure you could hear me. So yeah, my name is Tricia Novak. I'm with Terracon Consulting out of Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm also co-chairing the Clean Ohio River Committee with Annette Schumard, who works with Orsanko, as many of you know. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it today, but she wanted me to make sure to invite everybody to the 75th anniversary celebration for Orsanko, which is Wednesday, 28th at 1 p.m. at the Smale Riverfront Park in Cincinnati. And I can put that in the chat here in a little bit. Also, just if anybody is interested in joining our Clean Ohio River Committee, like Brewster said, we are focused on the river sweeps, along the Ohio River. And so if anybody is interested, I can put my email in the chat and just let me know. We are currently working on scheduling our 5th meeting virtually, obviously, towards the end of May, beginning of June. And so if you're interested in that, we can definitely send you an invite. And let's see, I'm looking through my text with Annette. Oh, the 75th celebration for Orsanko is obviously free and open to the public. So just wanted to make sure people were aware of that. Yeah, that's basically all I have. I can send the link to the Orsanko website that shows all the currently scheduled river sweeps, if anybody is interested in joining those. But if anybody is interested in conducting your own river sweep, like I have done for my Terracon office locally in the Louisville area, you can do that through the Orsanko page as well. They do a great job at sending you free stuff like t-shirts, trash bags, gloves, and things like that. And Sarah Seegers is working on a great toolkit for river sweeps, just so people are more aware of hazards to be aware of, where to send your trash once you pick up the trash, how you can recycle certain recyclable items you find along the river when you're doing a river sweep, and things like that.
Tricia, thank you very much. Appreciate it. You have a great team. I see that my friend Rick Jansen from Ironton and Portsmouth area is on the call too, and Rick's been involved. And so this is really an effort to get every single community to schedule and do at least one river cleanup project during this summer. And then and as I say, building on the awareness about the American River Support, we want to get as many volunteers, ideally a record number of tires collected, and a record amount of trash in terms of weight collected this season. This is something we can, if we each do a butt kicking event in each of our communities, we'll be able to meet these goals and show people that there is a constituency of folks in this region who care deeply about the Ohio and all it means to all of us.
And
Okay.
Brewster, this past week, Payne Hollow on the Ohio did an Ohio River sweep, and we had 80 volunteers, and many thanks to LG&E, and they provided a barge to haul our trash out from along the Ohio River. And working with Orsanko was just easy. Once you registered, they sent you all the material via UPS. In very simple forms, and they're a pleasure to work with. Well,
thank you, David. What an endorsement. Okay. Well, thank you, Tricia, and your team is marvelous. We appreciate all you're doing. And Jim Epperson says that the leadership in Southern Indiana, the leadership of Southern Indiana alumni did their own cleanup. That's great. So this is the kind of thing where every company, every nonprofit, every community can pitch in and do it. It can be 10 people, it can be 100 people. But we want pictures that we'll share around the network here. Okay. All right, moving right along. We don't need to go into great detail. I just wanted to report that we have individuals who've been working very hard to develop an Underground Railroad tour into all the sites. These will eventually be on the website with poor Forrest. He's got a lot of work to do. Okay. Number two, a Native American history and culture tour, that is locations that are open to the public, that where people can take their grandkids, they go themselves and check out these very unique historical sites and points of interest. And then museums. And I know that Sean is on the call right here from Berringer Crawford. We really appreciate what they're doing, but a museum tour, whether it's history, it's culture, it's art stuff. Sean, do you have anything quickly to report on your work there?
No, other than the fact that we're wrapping up the list. We probably have about a little over 115 museums and an additional 50 historical societies that we can add to the map.
And these will all be posted on our website. We'll eventually figure out how to integrate them all into our digital guide and help blow that out. But imagine spending 4 days checking out the museums and historical sites along this corridor. What a great reason to jump in a car or a boat or a bike and go, right? So thanks, Sean, appreciate that. And then our friend Katie Sparks with the Friendship State Bank in Indiana, she has been working tirelessly in developing the master list of breweries, wineries, and distilleries. So I don't know if you call it the drinking tour or the hospitality tour, we'll figure out something. But from Portsmouth and Ironton down to West Point and beyond. So Mayor, we'll be bringing people down to your town there in Westport. He's on the call here. So anyway, these will eventually be upgraded and integrated into the upload and integrated into the website, and maybe next year be more aggressively promoted in the guide. Okay, we're on track here. First of all, are there any questions about what we're doing with our committees and these different individual initiatives? And these committees are ones that we hope that every one of you will be on one committee, maybe even two. So this is where the work really gets done between these meetings at the committee level. So thank you for jumping into that. Next and almost last is David Wicks. We're coming to your town by boat, by canoe, starting the 2nd of June.
Brewster. And we're actually driving up to Vanceburg on Derby Day, May 6th, and then going to Portsmouth for a preliminary paddle with Sean Dunn and folks from Portsmouth on the May 7th. But our 10-day trip this summer starts on June 2nd, and we head on down from Portsmouth to Vanceburg to Maysville to Augusta to Thomas More down to Cincinnati, then Rising Sun and Vevey and Madison and Westport, and end up in Louisville on June 11th. We do have a couple spots left. We're encouraging people to apply within the next 2 weeks because we want to have our schedule set. All of our restaurants and camping sites are set up. It's our plan to leave paddling early in the morning before the winds pick up. So if you're a late sleeper, this is not the trip for you. But if you enjoy the morning and the dawn and exploring the river as we paddle along, this would be the trip for you. We're trying to set it up into 2 sections. Well, we are setting it up from Portsmouth on down to Cincinnati, then Cincinnati down onto Louisville. But we will have opportunities for individuals who wish to paddle just for a day. And those are as space is available. And so we're looking forward to paddling on down and meeting everybody in the rivers or in the river towns. Many thanks to Jerry Schulte, who's our safety boat person. Many thanks to Brewster, who's the onshore support person. And we're going to head down the river. Looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, David. So
That's
bottom
it.
line is we're coming to your town. Our friends in Portsmouth are kicking us off with a great big send-off event that morning, the 2nd of June. And the schedule, David, could you put the link to, or Forrest, could you put the link to the page on our website about the paddle so people will know the schedule, when we'll be coming to your town? in the past, this has been an opportunity for you all to engage your local press to cover. It's kind of fun to cover a trip going all the way down 250 miles of the river, right? So it's a newsworthy story, but it's a chance for you to get them to talk about your engagement with this project, why you guys are involved in your communities and organizations. And then we just look forward to having a beer with you in your community.
And we will have a online system to let you know where we are, because they're human powered boats, and so sometimes we go faster than other times. Sometimes the wind is in front of us, so our schedules are unpredictable. We have a good daily type of deal, but so we'll be online and you can track us as we go on down. But also an interesting piece is Jerry Schulte with his safety boat. If there are reporters or other folks who want to come on out and get some photos from the water, it's always a perfect opportunity. And so we're looking forward to it.
Excellent. Okay, buddy. Well, thank you very much. And I will be probably in a giant U-Haul truck or van with extra copies of the guide that we'll be distributing to your town. So I'm the support guy advancing it, and I'll be bringing, if we haven't already delivered them to you, we'll be bringing them during the course of the trip. Okay. Are there any questions about the paddle that we're doing?
One final thought is we have a wonderful sponsor that hasn't been mentioned, REI. And so it's not necessarily the REI company, it's the foundation that's behind them. So we just want to support. So if you're going to come paddling with us or you enjoy the river, log on to rei.com or go to that place. I think there's still one in Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken.
Wise guy. Yes, there's a wonderful REI store in Cincinnati. No, we are very grateful for their support. It's a big deal. And they picked us as one of the top 10 grant recipients for these kinds of projects recently. So we're grateful for that. Wow. Well, we're ahead of the game, folks, by a couple of minutes. And I just want to remind you all that the event calendar is available to you to upload your events and photos and information about your events. Please take advantage of that. It's really on you now. We've been working hard to go over everybody's website to try to grab the things that we think are the biggest deals in your town. But it's up to you really to figure out what you want to add that's not already on there. And again, it's sequential by date. So please use this as a way to get the message out about what you guys have to offer. Trish, you have a question? Tricia?
Yeah, sorry. I was just wondering if someone was interested in joining the paddle event but didn't have their own canoe, how you suggest going about renting one.
Tricia, these boats are 30 feet long and people paddle together. And so there is no requirement that you have your own boat. Matter of fact, it's because the boats travel at different speeds. So when you register, we provide the boat, the paddles, life jackets, all the food, the camping spot locations, the dinner reservations, and all you have to do is get to the beginning, and we can even help you with that. So Tricia, if you're interested in paddling from Cincinnati on down to Louisville with us, you're more than welcome to. And for folks who don't want to camp out, we do have a couple of those who like more creature comforts, but you can make arrangements to stay in a bed and breakfast or area hotel, but that's all on your own time. And you just have to be back at the river by dawn.
And David, people don't have to do the whole trip. They can do a day or 2 or 3 as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, what we have is limited space in the boats, but the priority is given to folks who are doing the Portsmouth to Cincinnati or Cincinnati to Louisville, and we'll hopefully have a pretty good handle on that by the beginning of the month of May. And then sure, we would love to have people come for sections of it.
And if someone wanted to just meet up with you guys to have a beer with you once you get to your spot in Louisville, would that be
yes,
possible?
that is, and we can make those arrangements. One of the big challenges really is dinner reservations. And so we have our reservations, and that's where we normally have a beer and everything else. And so if others want to join, that can get worked out. But in Louisville, we do have a sort of a reception at the end where Mayor Greenberg will be invited and has been invited, and they're at the Community Boathouse on that Sunday, June 11th. And traditionally, after 11 days of paddling, we tend to drive home and go to bed and not have a party afterwards. But
For a week, yeah.
Well,
Okay,
that's
David.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing all of you on the paddle. And as we close, just want to thank our elected officials who joined us today. Alex, thanks so much for representing Congressman Wenstrup. Appreciate that. And we look forward to working with all of you and building up the turnout for our event on the a month from now, the 18th of May, focusing on elected officials and mayors up and down the river, with the rest of us who are not elected officials being engaged too. Basically listening in and participating in the discussion, but we'll be rolling out the guide and talking about the trip. And I think it'll be a wonderful meeting. So in the
Brewster, one more point here. This Saturday coming up is Earth Day, April 22nd. And there's certainly many organizations up and down the Ohio River that are having area celebrations. And it's just a way of continuing cleaning up. For an example, in Louisville, working with Orsanco, we have the Beargrass Creek cleanup, 8:30 in the morning, hosted by our congressmen and local elected representatives. 8:30 a.m. sponsored by the Kentucky Waterways Alliance. And so hopefully everybody up and down the river can get out on the river this Saturday.
Perfect. Okay, last thing here, folks. In the last 30 seconds, we would like to invite everybody to put it in the chat your reaction to this meeting, and any ideas you have about how to make what we're doing through these meetings and other aspects of the program more effective. But was this helpful? Was it engaging? Is there anything we could do to make these more productive? So ready, get set, 30 seconds, go. Type. You know, we're not looking for praise. You know, praise is always nice, but it's anything that's helpful as well, if we're on the right track. So yeah, keep them coming here. So you like the meeting, huh? Phenomenal progress. Thank you, Guinevere. Appreciate that. Amazing things going on in Lawrenceburg. You like the pace and the level of engagement. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Very helpful information. Norbert, it's always good to hear from you in Baysville. What an amazing guy. Thanks for being our point person there. And Jim, thank you for the excitement, for sharing the excitement here about our staff. And Jody, great. It's wonderful to see you. And we'll be talking more up your way. All right. Madison, thank you. David Hudson, wonderful. Laura, thank you. Derek, with Indiana Trails, you guys are amazing. We look forward to continuing to work with you. So thank you very much. Mark Young, thank you for all your help and engagement. So, all right, folks, please keep doing stuff in the chat, but we will stop the official meeting here. And we're going to have a water cooler conversation for the next 10, 12 minutes. So anybody like to stay, great. You're welcome to share have any questions or comments, but we'll be chatting. But the official meeting is over as of now, and we're very grateful for all your participation. So thank you. You're released. Go back to work. But we'll be hanging here. And to Bob Lees, thank you. You're an amazing supporter. We just appreciate what you do in Richmond and beyond. And Linda Fester is an amazing, energetic person who is a recent resident of beautiful Higginsport, Ohio, and is working hard with her leadership there to help build that operation out. So, all right, folks. Well, thank you. So I'm glad, David Hudson, you like the fact we try to stick on time here. Boom, 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 right?
Forrest, did we ever get the Land Water Conservation Fund resources, like funding resources on the website? I know we talked about it, but with
that is on the resources page. I did not type that up into a blog post, although I would love to at some point. Right now, it is just a direct link to the webinar.
Oh, okay. So, okay. And then there's we can work on that together.
Yeah, let's do it.
Plus
I see.
we could include things like the data sources that are useful when applying for grants. And Brewster, we had Tracy from Portsmouth had been digging around for research-based data points that she could use for her applications for funding. So I think we should put a repository or a library of that stuff on our website so that when people are seeking funds, they can use the data that we use as well.
Okay, good.
I think
Good.
that's a wonderful idea, and maybe each meeting, Brewster, if we want to have a standardized format for these meetings, we should add in upcoming grants. So people know, like the Land and Water Conservation Grant is due on this day. And just sort of have a running list of all these grants that, and just have a section saying, think about money.
Good, and it's something we ought to make sure. I'm sorry, Francis, we didn't have that on the agenda today, but let's make sure we do it on the 18th. So we have three folks. We have Jody and Madison and Derek who have their hands up. Jody, you're first. But you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Okay, so I'm on my phone today and it's just hard to deal with it. But I have a couple questions. First of all, so when you have your big event, just starting in Portsmouth, so there's going to be a big kickoff there. That's the plan.
Yes.
And then, so I guess that's John, is it, that's in charge, or David? And so then camping in Vanceburg and then heading to Maysville. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can be engaged in that in some ways. And I guess, David, I'll just get in touch with you and in order to talk about that.
You're more than welcome to. Do you live in Maysville or where are you?
No, actually, I live near Rome. I'm just right across from Vanceburg, like just about a mile or two from Vanceburg, but on the Ohio side.
This May 6th is Saturday. We will be in Vanceburg. So why don't you stop by and we can talk about it. They have a festival from 10 to 6. We're going to be there from 10 to 5. Vanceburg River Days.
Okay, that sounds good. That's I work out of Maysville, so that Vanceburg is actually in my territory. So yeah, I'm familiar with the town.
Maysville, we'll be there on National Trails Day, and I've not heard most recently some of the plans, but supposedly on that day when we're in Maysville, there'll be some sort of recognition of National Trail Day, and so I'm not sure what that is, but it would be great to have some help with that. What do you do in Maysville?
Well, I work in community mental health. That's my work, but actually in Adams County, which is across from Vanceburg, I represent a 501c3 that's called Planning Adams County's Tomorrow. And that's where the travel and tourism entity sprung from. So, we've got some things going here, but not, not a lot, I will say, but, I'm looking to just engage our community a little bit more with the river. That's one of our tenants in the Planning Adams County Tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Jody.
And then the other question that I have is just about Ohio River Sweep. And I heard in a previous meeting that it was a little bit different. And today I just wasn't able to get like the emails and everybody's contact info. But so I know I can go through Orsanco, but I'm not sure if there's somebody already who's working on doing Ohio River Sweep in our county in Manchester. And I would probably do it in Rome, but I'm just trying to coordinate the efforts here. I don't want to be just like one. If I could have 4 wheels, I'd rather have 4 than one.
I like that. That's great. Well, thank you, Jody. I'll try to follow up with the folks at Orsanco to reach out to you. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds great.
Okay. Hey,
Thank you.
Hi, Madison. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to kind of check in and see if what I'm doing here in Athens County would be a good fit and be able to collaborate with you all. So I work for a nonprofit called Rural Action. If you're not familiar, it focuses on economic and environmental
Say hi to
sustainability.
Debbie for me. We go way back.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
go ahead.
Yep, she's right downstairs. I get to manage one of their social enterprises called Appalachian Understories, which is a guiding service. So we host all sorts of different guided tours throughout Southeast Ohio. We don't really have any geographic bounds other than like my time and knowledge of the area. So I just wanted to see like if this would be a good collaboration between the work that I do and you all. I did hope to go to the tourism meeting last week, but unfortunately I wasn't able to with prior obligations.
Well, Madison, let's do this. Let's set up a time, you and me, to touch base and chat.
Okay.
Okay. So if you could follow up by email, it's brewohio@gmail. I think you have that. Okay.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I also want to share like this dream adventure I have of paddling the Hocking River to the Ohio River. And I think it could be potential collaboration here.
Love it. We'd love to
Yeah,
work
there's
with
some
you guys.
wonderful folks up at Hocking College who's
Yeah.
done some great paddle sport work and paddled on down to in the Louisville area as well. And,
That's where I graduated from. I studied ecotourism there.
you know, and that's just such an exciting thing. You know, I'm fascinated with the tours, you know, and so is this, you know, like basic tourism, distillery tours and historic tours, or is it everything and above, bike tours? And
Yeah, the later of the two. So all of our tours have a focus on the natural and cultural history of the region. That's like the heart of all of them. So we pay local historians and naturalists, we like to call them the knowledge holders of the places that we visit. So we pay them to share their stories while we visit, and we visit in various different ways. So we do guided bike tours.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
We do.
You know, we do have
walking tours.
a beginning committee called Trails that is just, it's hasn't, well, it's just starting. And it'd be wonderful when Forrest is chairing that, and it'd just be great to have you work with him, because we're trying to figure this out for the whole stretch of the river, not only Southern Ohio, but maybe what you do has implications for us in Kentucky and Southern Indiana. I think that'd be wonderful.
Well, then I'll follow up with Brewster and Forrest. How's that sound?
Excellent. Thank you, Madison.
Yeah, thank you all.
And speaking of trails, Derek with Indiana Trails has his hand up. Derek, can you hear me? Oh, maybe he's frozen. Am I frozen? No,
You're not frozen.
Well, looks like he just
David
dropped off.
Rudder's not frozen.
So
Oh,
anyway, Francis.
I'm sorry I botched the Owsley Brown Family Foundation name. OSHA.
I've done the same thing, except for I did it in front of 500 people. So
She said she's fine with it, but she had explicitly said, here's the name. And I thought it was, honestly, I thought it was just the Owsley Brown Family Foundation, but she threw her anyway. So
it's the Owsley Brown, the second family foundation.
it's Christy Brown and Owsley Brown, the second family foundation.
Oh, okay. Ouch.
Oh, really?
Okay.
That's okay. She said
All
it
right.
was fine.
So Kelly Rudolph, it's wonderful to have you involved here with the American Canoe Association. So anything you'd like to add, Kelly?
I have nothing right now. I'm just working on organizing my council and trying to get Ohio paddlers coordinated. One of my council members was out of the States for a little while and is having some computer problems. That's why we haven't met again yet. But hopefully soon we'll have an organized group of people that are going to be able to start reporting on what's going on in all areas of the state.
Good. And also setting up training opportunities for people wanting to develop their skills in paddling. So that's wonderful. Looking forward to working with you on that. Good.
and we'll have a good database of all of the instructors, all of the instructor trainers and instructor trainer educators throughout Ohio.
Great. Dynamite. Well, thank you for joining us and all your work. Let's keep
Thank
going
you.
here.
Kelly, could you get with the folks in Kentucky? There's also a brand new person there, and it would be great to have a common list for people south of the river as well as north of the river. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Yeah, that would be ideal for the future. You know, currently trying to get just Ohio State organized is a pretty big job. So I'm sure Kentucky's new state director is doing the same thing. And then we will be meeting in our regional meetings. So I will be in contact with them.
Great.
I think the regions are separated by the Ohio River, believe it or not. So you might not be.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will
Usually the
reach out.
Southeast.
Okay. I will reach out then.
Okay, great. David Rudder, how you doing, buddy? I can't hear you.
Pretty good. I'm trying to get Nikki Gerber's livery back on the digital guide. She disappeared for some reason.
Oh, no. So just so everybody knows, David has been working with us to think through the next stage of organizational development of the digital guide. And so what David has been working out with his team is how we can have the ultimate responsibility and ability to maintain it and build it out. So, right?
We're hoping to make it a little less clunky. The way it's been working for the past couple of years, people suggest points. I have to go in and see if somebody suggested points and then review it, run it through, and then GIS has to push it out. And if I have to do any edits, then I do those edits, and I have to work with them to push that out onto the guide. So the team is setting it up so that Forrest will be able to add in multiple points much quicker. You know, as he's adding some of the new categories that are being added, splitting out wineries, breweries, distilleries, museums, and the Underground Railroad sites as their own distinct categories that'll show up on the guide that you can select. So to do that, and also to do edits, and what that will do is that will put Ohio River Way as the point of contact, the main place for any edits or any new points that people need. So Ohio River Way becomes the gatekeeper on the digital guide.
Excellent. Thank you so much, buddy. All your work. It's great. You started this thing, and wow. Okay. I think we're about ready to wrap up. Tim Weber, always good to see you. And is there anything else, anybody? Good meeting. Thank you for all your hard work. Forrest, thank you. Francis, David, wow.
And Brewster, thank you. And you're back in Ohio?
Got back last night, yeah. Put my garden in. All set to go.
Garden in already. They have you working outside already, huh? Congratulations.
Yeah, at least my lettuce. It's the only thing I can grow. All right, Jody, did you have anything else to say? Okay, I can't hear you, but that's wonderful. Thank you so much for all your support and assistance. David Hudson, it's always wonderful to see you.
Good to see you all too.
As Mr. Retiree. I love it. Okay.
Finally.
Okay, guys. Good work.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brew.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.